Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soul's Conquest in conversation with Laura. I'm super excited for this conversation, and I want to jump right into it because I've been excited for this for a pretty long time. So, Laura, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I live in Connecticut, and that's where I'm from originally, but it's been kind of a journey to get back here because I lived in several other places in the interim.
Mhm.
I'm a singer-songwriter, a mother of two, a market development lead at Shure. Uh, what else? I don't know. That's kind of, and a few other things mixed in there.
That was short and sweet, and I loved it. Perfect.
Hey.
Can you share a little bit about your craft? What do you create? So, you said you're a singer songwriter, and do you want to jump a bit more into that?
Yeah. So let's see. So I started writing songs when I was 11. No idea where it came from. Just started putting down poetry and
Mhm.
writing melodies, and just got kind of bitten by the bug and fell in love with it and started writing.
Yes.
Wrote a lot more during high school, really like moody, sad songs, and decided that I wanted to study music in college. So I studied opera for my freshman year at a place called DePaul University in Chicago,
Mhm.
with the bold idea that I would, um, get a nice classical foundation for my singing while gigging all over Chicago. Well, that did not
Yeah.
work out because when you're in your freshman year of college, you're kind of a hot mess. You're trying to figure out how to live on your own for the first time, or away from your
Yeah.
family, and um, do school and survive and whatever. So I didn't have time to gig, and I realized I didn't want to study opera. So my dad had always said that I should go to Berklee College of Music.
Mhm. Mhm.
But of course, being the stubborn teenager that I was like, whatever. And I wanted to get really far away and out of New England because I had grown up in
Yeah.
New England, and it's so small, and I just needed to get away. But then I transferred to Berklee. So finished that up and then moved to Nashville in 2001. Because after thinking about it, I was like, do I want to go to New York? I'd always dreamed of living in New York, but I just was too nervous to go there and like starve to death because I wouldn't be able to afford anything.
Yeah.
And Nashville in 2001 was still like super affordable and very singer-songwriter-y, like totally my vibe,
Yeah.
not all country, which everybody thinks it is. So I moved
Ooh.
there and just kept songwriting and honing my craft. But I feel like my songwriting now at 42 has really started to click for the first time in a very real way. So that's been really kind of exciting.
Oh, I have a couple of questions from that, but I'll keep it for later. I wanted to ask you, why did you start, right? Like you said that you got bitten by a bug, but if you really do think back to it, why did you start like creating songs? Why is it important for you?
Well, for me, it was an outlet. I
Mhm.
had been playing the piano for a while. I started when I was 7. But I don't know why. Like, I really enjoyed writing poetry first. So I used to just be all lyric driven. And then I would set the lyric to a melody and add chords and things like that. Now it's a little bit different, but I was just driven to do it because it just happened, like it just kind of came out, and I was like, oh, this is cool. People responded to it. People related to it, and people encouraged me. And so I was kind of like, this feels neat. This is who I am. So I'm going to explore this more.
Yeah. Amazing. From the previous answer that you gave, I wanted to ask you this one thing. You said that it took you probably 30 years for the things to click. What do you think about that journey? Because it seems like a pretty long journey.
No, it's wicked long. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real long.
Yeah. So did you feel that spark or that magic in your early years? And if you did, how different is that spark and that magic right now when things have finally started to click? And what do you feel when things started to click? If you could just.
Oh, yeah. So it's totally different. So when I would write a song in my 20s, I was trying to write, I was trying to figure out who I was as an artist, because that was what I ultimately wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional, touring musician, singer, whole deal. And so I was always writing stuff thinking, is this commercially viable? And so I wasn't writing for me. And I would play out and I'd be like, oh, these songs are too sad. Because I write really sad songs, it turns out. Yeah. And now I've given myself permission to write those songs and just write them and let them be whatever they're going to be. And there's a lot of freedom in that. And that's kind of what's changed. So when the spark would hit when I was younger, it was like, ooh, this is relatable, or ooh, this has structure and someone's going to catch on to this. And then in my 30s, I was so involved in my career. I'm even more so now, my professional career, that the songwriting kind of took a big backseat and changed. And like, if I wrote a song at all, I was like, because I had time to actually write something and something came out because the creativity just kind of left the building. But in the past 2 years, it's really just kicked up. Really in the past like year and a half during the pandemic, I think a lot of people are experiencing that. I took a songwriting course that I found online called Monthly with Ryan Tedder from One Republic. And it was a game changer. As silly as it sounds, like I got a Facebook ad, took this course, asked for it for my birthday, and my husband got it for me, took it, and it just opened up a ton of creativity. And so it's been nice to have that spark again.
Yeah. Oh, that is such a powerful journey, especially the fact that you went from writing commercially to writing for yourself. How big of a difference do you feel when you made this shift? And did it scare you when you made this shift?
It didn't scare me. I think I was just it was actually really empowering because to be able to say, I'm not going to be writing for somebody else, or I'm not writing with a goal in mind, has been so liberating. And it's made my songs that much stronger. So I think it was scarier in my 20s just because I put so much pressure on myself. Because people back home were like wanting me to do this big thing with my voice. And, that was when American Idol was just kicking off, and like, oh, you should be on American Idol. And so I put so much pressure on myself, and I didn't really enjoy the journey. And I got to do so many cool things with my voice because of my voice. Yeah. So now I think the fear is gone. Now it's just kind of like enjoying the ride.
I love that. I wanted to talk about the pressure because I feel like a lot of songwriters and singers face that when they're starting out on that journey. So do you want to share a bit more about that if you're comfortable with it?
Yeah. So what do we want to focus on specifically, I guess?
No, just the fact that, I feel like in the beginning, like you said, a lot of songwriters, a lot of creatives for that matter, feel that pressure from family and friends that they have to achieve a set goal because, well, they sparked or they shined the first time that happened, the first time they shared their craft, people enjoyed it. So now people have big expectations off of you. So how did you manage that pressure? And did it ever harm you? And if it did, how did you overcome that pressure? Because I feel like it's a big topic.
Yeah, that's a big topic. Definitely. I don't think it ever harmed me. If anything, it just pushed me harder.
Yeah.
And I got so much support, not just from my family, but from people in my hometown where I live now, because it's a smaller town. People, now that I moved back here, people are so supportive, even more so. So I think the pressure was really hard when I would try to do things that I thought I was supposed to be doing, like going on reality shows.
Yeah.
When I wouldn't get there. Like I auditioned for The Voice twice, got really close to getting out to the LA portion of it and didn't. And I was just kind of like, well, what the heck, and they'd say, your voice is great. Like we love your voice, but you just don't really have a compelling story. And then I kind of questioned that. I was like, well, crap, am I like a legitimate artist? Because I was raised by two parents who like took good care of me, and I lived in, a privileged town and didn't ever starve. And like, I don't have an exciting story. So that was kind of something that to me opened my mind to a different part of the industry, which I already kind of understood. But like, if you think about it, when you watch those competitions, the people that you want to watch are the ones who have those really interesting, like, backstories where they're struggling and this is their chance to have their big moment. And I was kind of like, well, my life's pretty good. So,
yeah,
that was kind of the pressure though, is like, you should be on these shows or you should be doing this or whatever. But I was able to tour the world as a backing vocalist and as a product specialist, which is, something that my career did, which I love to share with other creatives, especially those coming straight out of college, that just because you think that you're going to be a music star or celebrity.
Yeah.
Number one, you probably won't get there because this, it's just the stats aren't in your favor, but also because you might get out there and see that you don't want it after all. Because after I toured as a background singer, which is the best gig ever, by the way, I realized I was like, maybe I don't want celebrity. Maybe I want a family and some semblance of normalcy. And I don't want to have to like wear a disguise when I go grocery shopping or, like I want to be able to go out and be myself. And so I think that pressure kind of lifted when I was able to accept that I wanted to just be an artist, be a mom, be a person in this crazy industry that I'm in now in manufacturing of microphones, and just do that and be really great at that. And that's been really fulfilling. But my 21-year-old self would probably be like, I can't believe that's where you are, but it's like so much better than anything I could have ever imagined. So anyway, that was a long answer.
No, it was a good answer. It was a good answer. And I feel really bad that you missed out on a good opportunity just because you didn't have a compelling story, because that kind of sucks. It kind of makes you feel that you have to be struggling to make it as a creator or as a big shot. And that's, it's pretty sad. And it is true that we kind of, kind of cheer up the people who have the struggling stories. I appreciate them for taking that step, but it's also true that you are missing out on a good opportunity if you don't have, like, you have the talent, but you don't have the, sad sob story, which makes it really sad.
Which makes me sound like such a loser, because I'm just kind of like, woe is me, I have a great life. But I mean, I think you framed it up perfectly. It's not, it's if you're going for that kind of celebrity on reality television, I would recommend having a really compelling story to tell, because otherwise it's like, I'm a white lady from Connecticut. So that wasn't really enough to get me in the door, which is fine. But as a, younger person starting out, it was really hard to get turned down again and again.
Yeah. And what do you feel about facing those rejections at such a young age for a thing which wasn't really in your hand, right? Like the reason for the rejection wasn't really in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. It was hard. Especially like when I auditioned for The Voice when I was living in Ohio, they had a local Cleveland audition process. And so a bunch of us went downtown to like the local NBC affiliate station, and we did our own reality show version of it, like where we auditioned, we got through to the next level, and then we did a live show. And so I had like all my neighbors calling, or, online voting. I had all my people back in Connecticut voting. So that was when the pressure was really like, oh man, like this. And they didn't understand when I didn't get voted through, because they worked so hard, but unfortunately, like someone had found a way to kind of buck the system, and that's just life. But that was the hardest one, because so many people knew that I was going for it, and then I didn't even get there. So it was kind of like, but we did all the right things. So that was kind of the hardest. But, then you just kind of soldier on and realize that there's other things you can be doing, and so many ways that you can be changing other people's lives and helping people with your music. And then it's like, okay, it's deeper than this. It's better. I'm going to be fine,
Yeah.
stand up and
Yeah.
dust yourself off.
Yeah, I love that. Do you love the direction your career took? Because I love the journey when you were telling me about it. So,
Yeah.
do you love the journey that your career took, the
Yes.
U-turn, or basically like the diverging thing that it did?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was not something I ever thought of. I mean, I didn't even know. So I started off as a product demonstrator or a product
Mm-hmm.
specialist, as we call it. Um, and I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, it's so cool. It's basically a manufacturer finds someone who can represent their brand and their product and convey how cool that product is in a relatable
Yeah,
way to
yeah,
the person who knows nothing about it. And I found that that was something I was really passionate about. I love gear.
yeah,
I love technology. I love what this gear can do to enhance your creativity. Um, I mean, I wrote songs because of this gear when I was first
yeah,
starting out. So
yeah,
now the way my career is going is just even better working for the best manufacturer in the industry, in my opinion, for sure.
yeah.
Um, it's so cool. It's really satisfying.
Yeah. I remember during Podfest when I'd asked you that question between a condenser mic and a dynamic mic. Because I am very techno averse. Like I look at technology and I run the other direction because I'm scared of things just falling apart. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know anything. I picked out the first mic I found because it had good reviews. But I was really confused because I have a condenser mic and I was like, this is picking up a lot of sound and I don't know what to do about it. And the way you explained it was like, that makes a lot of sense. Because
Yeah.
yeah, for someone who is very techno averse, the way you explained it was pretty cool and it was very easy to understand because you were showing me the demonstrated, like the bis- dissected versions of the mics.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I felt like okay, I understand what this mics is all about. Like these
Oh, that's
mics are all
awesome.
about. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
I'm so glad you got it. That's
yeah,
my passion. I mean, I love watching that light bulb kind of go off above people's
yeah,
heads where they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, all right." Or,
yeah,
"Oh, that's why I would use that mic or that gear or whatever." And you've just removed an obstacle for somebody,
yeah,
and made it that
yeah,
much easier for them to sound great or be great. And so, yeah,
yeah.
super rewarding.
Yeah, I that's why I was like, okay, I need to talk with Laura. I need to know what is her journey all about because it sounded pretty exciting. I could see the guitar behind your back in your studio or
Oh,
your
yeah,
office.
I know. I'm like giving you the wrong look here. I should be like, there we go.
Ah,
Here's
there you are.
yeah, this is my normal background. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's guitars, there's like a keyboard over here, and
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
my studio is over there. So
Ooh. Yeah,
yeah, sorry if I'm making
it's pretty
anybody
amazing.
dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now let's get back to your creative journey.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what do you hope to achieve before starting a new song?
Hmm. Just getting it out before I forget it. I mean, like, that's half the battle these days because
That is so relatable.
no, you're in the middle of making dinner, or it's like you're on a
Yeah,
business call, and like this idea will spark, and you're just like, "Ah, I gotta get it down." So, I mean,
yeah,
we are blessed to be able to have something like this to just
yeah, yeah.
sing into it, and
Mhm.
Shure makes awesome mics that make it sound great. So, like, I can. That's what I love. I can record my idea into my computer, and it's not garbage. Like, I can actually hear what I was
Yeah,
trying to convey. Um,
yeah,
but that's the biggest thing. But yeah, what do I hope to achieve? I just hope that I write something that makes me feel good again and again when I hear it, and that somebody can say, "I love that tune," or "I relate to that." That's kind of the goal, I think.
ooh, yeah. I love the example that you gave because I've had like inspiration strike me at the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. I'm like,
Yes.
God, I need to write that down. That's such a cool idea. But then I'm so sleepy that I sleep and I'm like, it's such a good idea. I won't forget it. And the next morning, I'm like,
Hmm.
what was I thinking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've made it a point to charge my phone at night because I get the randomest ideas at the most random times.
Hmm.
So I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta have a
Yeah,
phone all the time.
yeah, amazing. What do you hope people who listen to your song will feel like post completion? So once it's done, once it's edited, once it's out there, what do you hope that people listening to it will feel like?
Well, I don't know that I think about it that way, but I will say that like last weekend I played a new tune that I've been working on that I'm like really proud of that I haven't
Mm-hmm.
released yet. And I played it
Mm-hmm.
for some friends at around their fire pit and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, "This is you?" Like that's the ultimate thing where they're like,
Oh yeah,
"Wow." Or like they hear something and they're just kind of like, "This has such a great groove." Or they start using words that you're like, "Yes, it's got a good hook." Or things that like you would
yeah,
expect musos to do, but like these are just my friends who love music and they're just kind of like, "This is
yeah.
so catchy." And
Mm-hmm.
it figures when I stop trying to be catchy, the stuff I make is catchy. So that's what I want. I love it when people are just like grooving out. You see them have that kind of physical reaction to what they're listening to in a good way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm going for, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that is impactful. That is powerful. Why is it important for you as a creator that people feel that way when they listen to your songs or on your
Oh.
music?
I guess because when I listen to music, it's like an all-encompassing process. When I turn on a song, like I was listening to some music today. What is his name? He was so good. Oh, Robert Randolph. I don't know if you've ever listened to him, but
Mm-hmm.
holy heck, he is so good. Slide guitarist, just like real good swampy blues gospel vibe. And I hadn't really
Yeah.
listened to him much. I've heard his tunes, but like today I just put one on Spotify and I was just sitting there like, making the stank face kind of thing. And like,
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to me that people have that kind of visceral reaction
Mm-hmm.
because that's how I experience music. I don't just listen and go like, "Hmm." Like every part of me moves when I
Yeah.
listen to it. So that's why,
Yeah.
I guess.
Wow. Um, I know this is not that we discussed, but would you feel comfortable sharing some of your tunes or something along those lines that you're working with on the podcast? If it is not, I
Some tunes
completely
that I'm
understand.
working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, how do you want me to share it? Like, just talk about them, or like what?
You could play something if that is something that you're comfortable with. If you aren't, I completely understand.
Oh yeah, well, I don't. I mean, it's not going to sound so great if I play it just through this. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the tune that I'm working on, that I'm really excited where it's going is called "Pretend," and
Mm-hmm.
it's one that I started a while ago, and just use the songwriting tools from that course to
Yeah.
approach it totally differently. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of starting with my lyrics or a melody, I
Mm-hmm.
started with the groove. I knew what I
Okay.
wanted the tempo to be, and I knew kind of what I wanted the drum beat to sound like or feel like. Put
Mm-hmm.
that into Logic and started
Yeah.
building off that. And what Ryan Tedder recommends in this course, without giving away too much so that Monthly
Mm-hmm.
can still sell the class, is that he has you start it off with a groove and
Mm-hmm.
then just sing gibberish over it. So put it like
Yeah.
in a loop, a 4-bar, 8-bar loop, whatever you want to do. And then just sing, work on melodies over and over again and record it. And so that's how this all started taking shape. And it has like, I've got like some cool Supremes like backgrounds happening and there's horns on it. And,
Yeah.
I've been able to, what I think is so exciting about this track for me personally is that I was able to ask my friend Jordan West to play drums. She is
Yeah.
unbelievable. She plays for Grace Potter, who is like my absolute
Ooh.
hero.
Yeah.
Asked my friend Chris Ward from Berklee to play sax. He sent it off to a friend in LA to play trumpet. So like real horns are going to be on it.
Yeah.
Talented Mark Sutton played guitar on it in Nashville, gave me
Ooh.
5 tracks of acoustic
Yeah.
and Les Paul and Strat. And I'm just kind of like, this is incredible. These are all my people that I respect and love and work with. And here they are contributing to this project that I'm so super passionate about. And this one song,
Yeah.
it's just one song, but it was like, that was all it took to just reignite this spark. So that's the
Yeah.
one I'm really the most excited about, but I can't share it yet. It's not ready.
It's completely all right. I love that you shared that about your song. I wanna. Okay, this is such a good question. what do you feel about creatives collaborating with creatives? Like in your song, what does that feel like? Because a lot of creatives, when they're starting out, they're all like, they kind of cocoon themselves, as
Yeah.
in they don't, like not all of them do, but some of them are there that they don't want to share much, don't want to give away the trade secrets.
Yes.
Um, how was, if you ever felt that, what was your journey from that to collaborating with your favorite artists
Well, I
to
guess for
create the
me, I
song?
didn't
Yeah.
even know collaboration was possible. I mean, at
Mhm.
Berklee, we're encouraged to collaborate. You have to do projects together, and you have to like. There are a lot of music and production students who need singers, so I would collaborate in that regard. But like, I'd never co-written. I tried. I remember trying in a Berklee writing room, and it was just like
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Nashville, and everybody co-wrote. And so that was when I was kind of like, oh, well, that's the status quo. That's normal. But this type of collaboration is so different to me because now I'm like in the driver's seat. I'm the
Yeah.
producer, which I had
Yeah.
never felt comfortable being until doing
Hmm.
this class because I had all this gear, this beautiful technology, and I still didn't have time to really process it and digest it and know what I was doing. And now just with a few simple tips and tricks from Ryan, I was able to like really take advantage of it. And
Yeah.
so being the producer as the collaborator has been definitely weird, but very cool.
Yeah.
It's so important to collaborate. It's
Yeah.
so it's so important and invaluable.
Right. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Mhm.
I want to ask you, what were some of the obstacles that you faced in your journey as a creator? Now, you already told me about the rejections,
Hmm.
about feeling down, but do you want to share something more into that area or that aspect of your journey?
I think some of the obstacles have just been trying to figure out how to carve out time for my
Right.
creator to still be able to
Mhm.
have her time in the sun, because being a mom, I have two girls, almost 7 and 10, is the most rewarding thing ever in life. But, I want to be able to focus on them. I don't want them to feel like they're
Yeah.
second fiddle to anything. But if
Mhm.
I'm not paying attention to my creator,
Yeah.
she gets really pissed off. So, I
Yeah.
think that's been the biggest obstacle is just trying to find time and give myself permission the time to do that and let myself create so that it's not going to negatively affect everyone else in my life. Um, and other obstacles, I mean, initially starting out, obstacles were, of course, just surviving, like not
Mhm.
having like 50 grand in student loan debt at 22 years old and
Yeah.
having to figure out bills and learn how to cook
Yeah.
and like all
Yeah.
this crap where,
Yeah.
that was, that was the big obstacle.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what were some of the solutions that you came up with to overcome these obstacles or to deal with these obstacles?
Uh, the, the first one or the surviving one, just kind of through trial and
Yeah.
error, figured it
Oh,
out.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, got into debt consolidation, which I highly recommend if anyone young is listening to this and you are just kind of overwhelmed and made some bad decisions, like don't be ashamed to reach out for that because I'm debt
Hmm.
free now, which is fantastic. Um, and obstacles now, I guess, you know, just making sure that I'm still always checking in with the
Hmm.
creator, but
Yeah.
always checking in with my girls and making sure that they're not feeling isolated
Yeah.
because this pandemic, oh Lord, it has
But
been,
yeah.
it's done a number on them. And
Yeah.
especially my 6-year-old, because she's the sweetest. And, when you're 10, you can kind of reach out to your friends and have those connections on
Yeah.
Zoom. But when you're
Hmm.
6, people don't really converse a whole lot, outside of like playing
Yeah.
with each other and playing with their dolls and stuff. So making sure to give myself the time to create, but not giving myself all the time so that I still have that
Yeah.
time for my family and my husband and my kids.
Yeah. That makes sense. Um, as this is a spiritual podcast, I think it would be awesome to know if you have any spiritual or self care routines that you do in your creative life as well as outside of that. So, when you're just having your personal life, enjoying your, daily things, daily routines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I pray every night when I'm falling
Mhm.
asleep. My mom and I
Yeah.
were just talking about this before I met with you, had lunch with her on
Yeah.
Friday. We try to have lunch, which is awesome.
Yes.
And she's like, well, who do you pray to? And I said, I pray to God. I have no idea what God looks like or is or anything, but I think there is a higher power. So just,
Yeah.
taking that time every night to be thankful and say in my head or write it down, like, thank you for this. Take care of these peeps. Like I pray for peace every night. I pray that we just get our act together as humans and really, I think the pandemic brought a lot of us together in new ways, which is super wonderful and hopeful. And then from a self-care side of it, I really try to carve out time to just have some me time. I really need that.
Yeah.
And whether it's getting on the Peloton or, going for a walk, I like being by myself, and it's okay to want that, even though I have this awesome support system.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was one of your soul's conquest, and what is shaping you up to be your current soul's conquest? And by soul's conquest, I kind of mean like, I imagine someone's soul's conquest being like our life is the journey, and we take these mini side quests to, to achieve some side goal that we have. And once you've achieved that, you have completed the quest. But
Oh,
the
wow.
journey, yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is very deep.
Yes.
I don't know what my soul's I mean, I've had so many things that I've done that have been like getting out of my comfort zone. Whether it's changing careers, I changed jobs, or I left a company that I was with for 10 years when I didn't like the direction they were going. That was huge. That was like, all right. Sorry, I look like I'm crying, but I'm fighting off a sneeze. I'm really emotional about my soul's conquest. No, I'm just highly allergic to everything growing outside my window. So yeah, I think my soul's conquest, first of all, well, this is not related to the creative necessarily, but when I was 30, 31, I realized that like I wanted to have kids. And I knew I wanted to have kids, but like that was like, I literally woke up one morning. It was like, yeah, I'm going to need a baby right now. And my husband was like, what? Like I joke about it, but it's how it happened. Like all of a sudden my body was just like, okay, let's do this. Like it's time. And I had to make that decision and then actively know that once I did that, I was not going to be able to be a background singer anymore, because the artist I was singing with had flat out said, like, once you have kids, like we're done.
Right.
Which was really hard, but I was like, I've seen Australia, I've seen Japan, I've seen, Europe. Like this has been a pretty great ride. I think I can do this. And it just, everything else took over too. Like I just knew that this is time. This is what I want to do. So that was a big one, I'd say. But
how did you feel when when you were about to take that decision? Because it sounds like a pretty risky thing, given the fact that you left a 10-year-old job because you didn't like the direction it was going. I understand that it is a big decision, right? To take that, to change gears midway. How did you feel?
I felt really great because I've always been the type to just jump in with both feet. I'm not afraid of change. I love change, actually.
Right.
It's what keeps me sane. And so it was an adventure, and I hated to think of leaving the people that I had worked with for so long, but I knew that the way the company was going, that those people probably weren't going to be with the company much longer. And I had an opportunity come up to do something completely out of the industry. And I worked for a marketing agency, and that gave me this whole new skill set. So it was like a cool departure where I was able to kind of level set and not work from home, because I'd always worked from home. This was working in an office every day. And that had its own pluses and minuses. And I loved the people I worked with. And then I was approached by Shure, and it was like the gig was made for me. And so it was just like, I just feel like there's really an ebb and flow and a reason for everything. So, when those things came to me, I was excited. I love change.
Amazing. What is shaping up to be your current soul's conquest?
So the current one is getting this music out the door,
Yeah,
and hopefully getting my podcast out the door, which I've been trying to do for 3 years. And it's,
yeah,
we hear all these things where it's like, just do it, just hit record, just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I preach
yeah.
that and I can't even practice what I preach because I've
Yeah,
decided to do this podcast concept that's flipping hard.
yeah,
And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm really just trying to get stuff out there, but do it in a way to where it's going to make a difference as opposed to just like posting it on Facebook and being like, what do you think? Like really doing an
yeah,
active
yeah,
push, because I'm horrendous at promoting myself. I will promote the heck out of the brand, whoever, but
yeah.
like me, I'm just like, yeah, I write songs. I'm like horrible at it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my current conquest, is to get the stuff out there in a meaningful way and
Mhm.
continue to create.
Wow. I hear you so bad because, oh my God, I remember when I wanted to start out on my podcast journey, I downloaded the Anchor app, I hit
Yes,
record,
I did that
and
too.
yeah, I hit record, I heard myself speak, and I was like, good Lord, I wouldn't hear myself even if I was forced to. Like, if someone put a gun on my head and like, listen to your own self, I'm like, should I
No.
really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
yeah.
There,
So,
it's true. There are so many ways to get podcasts recorded and up and out the door instantly. And I love
yeah.
that. But I'm too
Mhm.
much of a perfectionist, and it sounds like you are as
Oh, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
that I am editing it and nitpicking it, and I just need to get it out there. I really
Yeah.
do.
I hear you. Like, the amount of times I've spent editing my podcast and just being like, good Lord, save my soul. I wish I could hire someone to do this for me so that I wouldn't have to hear my own voice.
You can. It just
Yeah.
costs money. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find an intern or something.
Yeah. That's my plan actually. Hopefully, I think a couple of months later, someone else will be doing this for me and I could focus completely on interviewing people.
Yes, on the
But I hear
content.
you.
Where are you
Yeah.
based? I forgot to ask you where you're based.
I'm based out of India.
Oh my gosh. So what time is it where you are right now?
It's 11:12.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
No worries, I'm a night owl. This is perfect for me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
never spoken to anyone from India, like who's
Oh,
in India. I've
yeah.
spoken to Indian people, but not anyone who's live and in person from India. This is so cool.
Yeah, you should definitely visit once this pandemic drama is done
Yeah,
because it's a beautiful country.
I hope your people are all good, your family and your friends.
Oh yeah, they are. I mean, we have had some losses, but
Oh,
the family is good. It's a bit of a blah kind of a thing, right? Like you can't really do anything about it. You can't visit anyone. And
no.
even though I'm an introvert at heart, it's taxing to stay inside by force rather than by choice. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh, I'm
Hmm.
sorry that you've had to go through
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've all been touched by it. I just hate
Mhm.
that in India that it's like having such a spike right now, because we're going
Yeah.
like this and you're going like that. But
Yeah.
we're getting there. We're getting
Yeah.
there.
Hopefully, soon we will be able to, because I have been dying to travel
Yes.
to a lot of
Yes.
places. I have like this bucket list of places that I want to travel, but I'm like, can't do anything right now. So hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I wanted to share this, right? If you're podcasting, even if it is not perfect, I know this is kind of like a cliched thing, right? Because I've had to kill my perfectionism self a lot of times because I've had like mic problems and that freaks the hell out of me. But I've had mic problems and I was like, my mic sucks.
Mm.
My mic is not connected, but I had an interview and the
Oh
audio sucked.
no.
Yeah.
That's the
Because like,
worst.
yeah, Zoom doing Zoom things and it's like,
Yes.
but like I am on borrowed time, right? It's not only my time, it is also the person who I'm interviewing their time.
Mm.
Um, So I can't really be like, let's do this another day, because I
Yeah.
appreciate and I respect their time. So I have to be like, okay, let's just get it done with. Even though it sounds very horrible to podcasters, because they are very fine tuned to listen to audio and stuff, and they can be like, oh, cringe. We are
Eh,
cringing. Sometimes I'm just like, just listen to the damn content.
yeah.
And
Just focus on what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's so frustrating because as working for Shure, like we've done all these studies and people can hang with subpar video, but if the
Mhm.
audio is jacked up, like they're not going to listen. But
Yeah.
hopefully you're not jinxed anymore because you sound good now. We have to get you
Hopefully.
an MV7, Let's got to
Yeah.
level up your podcast game.
I am. That is my dream, to just level up, as you said, buy all this gear that I'm super excited to buy,
Yeah.
because it sounds like damn fun. I want to experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I think that's what's so cool about where we are right now is that
Hmm.
even just like a few years ago, you talked about having a condenser mic that was picking up too much.
Yeah.
Now there's so many more offerings that are out there. So that's
Yeah.
why it's made my job easier in a lot of ways with this particular mic, not to go into a short, sales pitch,
Hmm.
but just because
Yeah.
you can plug it in directly to your computer without an interface or plug it into an interface if you want to,
Hmm.
that's where it's like, okay, this mic is awesome. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that because if you're a podcaster who has no idea how to use a mic or tech or anything, and you just grab this guy and plug it into your PC
Yeah.
or Mac, hey, words, then you're going to be great. You're going to have an awesome
Yeah.
experience. And so I think that's been the most rewarding thing for me is that, like I said, I
Mhm.
love taking obstacles out of people's way.
Yeah.
So,
If you're anything like me, buy a Shure mic.
yeah, right. Yep. Yeah. It,
Yes.
it will make your life tremendously better.
Oh, I hope
And you'll
so.
sound super cool. Yeah.
So nice. I love that. Amazing. Whew, okay, we are reaching towards the end. What is the one thing that has created an impact on your life recently?
Recently, the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. No, I mean, seriously. Yeah, the pandemic, and
Yeah,
the pandemic.
God, the pandemic.
I mean, I would think that songwriting course, honestly,
Mhm.
it still feels so silly to say that, yeah, I clicked a Facebook ad and like it changed my life, but it really just jump
Yeah.
started something in me that I really needed. I really needed that like deadline driven because the way you do
Mhm.
it is you write 3 songs and like you're doing it with 20 other people across the
Mhm.
world in real
Mhm.
time. So even though the content's
Yeah.
pre-recorded, you're still getting that instant feedback and everybody's
Yeah.
going in it. So that was what was so rewarding. And then it had that like accountability of, oh, I got to get this done. And I
Mhm.
loved it. I was looking forward to it every
Yeah.
night. Like put the kids to bed and then go work on music. My husband was like, hello, hello, but are you there? So
Yeah.
that's been kind of like the
Ooh.
most empowering thing and something that's
Yeah.
definitely, been good.
Yeah. As someone who actually talks to people about working through burnouts and finding that spark again, I find your story very inspirational, because, it's the randomest things that
Yes.
inspire you. It's like, I actually made a reel on this today, that, it could be the randomest things for you to feel that spark. It could be someone appreciating your work, someone validating and being like, yo, I can relate to this damn hard, right?
Yeah.
And viewing someone else's, because I can tell you right now, some of my best work has happened because I was inspired by another creative's work. It's
Hmm.
like, damn, right? And then suddenly when you're reading something, it's like, oh God, I got such a good idea off of this. And it's not like stealing, like not copy
No,
pasting something.
no,
Nope. Don't do that. Do not do that.
don't steal. Do not steal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, we are
Um.
inspired. Okay. We're
Yeah.
inspired by
Yeah.
others. Yes. That's what
Yeah.
we
I think.
say.
Yeah. It's the randomest things that can inspire. What is something that inspires you?
My children,
Mm-hmm.
just making making them feel loved and
Yeah.
important and seen is something
Mm-hmm.
that I strive to do and that really inspires me.
Yeah.
And just love. Love inspires me, as cliche as
Yes.
that is.
Yes. That was beautiful. One last question. What is the one last thing that you would like to leave my listeners with?
Be kind to yourself and to
Nice.
others. And when you fail at that, don't beat yourself up about it. just try again tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, that was genuinely so beautiful. Thank you for sharing
Thank you.
that. Yes. Oh, I wanted to ask you, to the listeners here, whenever this podcast releases, before that, if your song doesn't come out, is there something that you would like to suggest them to listen to of yours?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to lauraclapp.com, CLAPP,
Mm-hmm.
that's my website. And then Spotify, iTunes, I'm on Instagram at Laura Clapp
Mm-hmm.
Music.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me that way. So I would love it
Yeah.
if people would go and kind of explore and reach out, and it's just Laura at lauraclapp.com if you're like, hey, I like that tune, or drop me a comment
Yeah.
on Instagram or
Yeah.
Facebook, which is where I live because I'm old. So
Yeah.
yeah, just find me on there. Let's connect.
Yes, amazing. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. It means a lot. Thank you for sharing your inspirational story. I loved your journey as a creative, and I am super, super excited for not only Pretend, but also your podcast whenever it comes out. I'm holding you accountable for that. So,
Thank you. I have a lot of people holding me accountable. I got to get it done. But thank you for having me on here. It really meant a lot to be asked.
thank you so much. Super grateful for you.